Am I the jerk for breaking my number one seggs rule with a handicapped guy? Posted by you/thrower_Jess. Come on. Obviously, this is a throwaway account because I don't want anyone here seeing my regular one. Also, I'm in the US, and English is my first language. Any discrepancies are because I suck at typing on my phone. TLDR for the give me the bare bones, I don't have all day to read on the crapper crew. My number one rule since high school has been no seggs before the third date. I recently broke that rule with a guy who uses a wheelchair, and now my childhood best friend is pissed and grossed out because she thinks I have some kind of weird fetish. Context/full story, I'm 28F, and my childhood best friend, Jess, also 28F, has been in my life for 15 years. To put it simply, I don't think I'm a prude, I just don't feel comfortable with casual seggs and never have. Jess knows this and has lightly teased me about it in the past. While she's been in a long-term relationship for the past 3 years, I've been mostly single, focusing on my degree and career. Jess lives in another state with her boyfriend, so we don't hang out much anymore. About a month ago, I went on a first date with a guy I'd been talking to for a while. I thought it was going somewhere, but during the date, he gave off a weird vibe, so I cut it short. On my way home, I stopped at a local pub to unwind and people watch until I felt sober enough to drive, because tipsy driving is still drunk driving, in my opinion. The place was packed, Friday night and all, and there wasn't any seating at the bar. I grabbed a drink and looked around. Most of the restaurant side was hosting someone's birthday party, but there was a small table with an open seat off to the side, where a guy was reading a book. I thought, F it. I'm a social person. What's the worst that could happen? He says no. So, I asked if I could sit there for a bit and promised we didn't have to talk or anything. At this point, I realized I might have messed up because this guy, up close, was the hottest man I'd ever seen. But he just smiled and said, sure, enthusiastically. A few minutes later, while I was sipping my drink, he said, I don't mind talking if you want to. Yeah, I want to, are you kidding me right now? We started chatting. His name is Mike, not his real name, and he's 29. He just finished his master's degree in some computer science field. I program computers to program computers, and was living on his own for the first time after growing up with a half-dozen siblings. He told me he stops by the pub after work because it's close by, and he's not used to the quiet yet. We talked for 2 hours about everything, dating, he said he'd basically given up on it, hobbies, tastes, and we had this crazy overlap in interests. At some point, I blurted out that I didn't know why he'd given up on dating because this was the best date-like experience I'd had in forever, shooting my shot obliquely here, lol. He gave me an odd look and said, tell you what, I need to use the bathroom, but when I come back, I'll ask you out for real. Weird, but okay? Then it all clicked because he didn't walk away, he rolled in his wheelchair. And I thought, oh my god, he wanted to give me a chance to back out without making it awkward. How cute can this guy be? When he came back and saw I was still there, he grinned like crazy, and I basically tripped over myself saying, so I'm free all weekend. What do you have in mind? Another hour of talking later, we had plans for Saturday. He explained he has a neuromuscular disorder, the name escapes me, my degree isn't in STEM, lol, that affects his brain's ability to send the right signals for balance and coordination, so while his legs work, walking or standing isn't feasible. As the pub started filling with a younger, rowdier crowd, he asked if I wanted to continue the conversation over coffee at his place. As you've probably guessed by now, I didn't get coffee or conversation until the next morning, and I have zero regrets. We've been dating ever since, and while it's still early, I really feel like he might be the one. Onward to yesterday afternoon, my friend Jess, remember Jess, was in town, and we went out for coffee to catch up. I was gushing about Mike, but when I got to how we met, she just got weird and edgy. I don't remember her exact words, but she essentially implied that I must have a fetish for people with disabilities since I broke my number one rule and said it's the best physical relationship I've ever been in. Like it's good for me because he uses a wheelchair, not because the guy puts in effort in bed? She said I've changed as a person and left without even saying goodbye. 15 years of friendship, and I've never seen her like that. So here I am, asking the most objective people online, haha, if I'm a jerk or weird for being super attracted to a guy who uses a wheelchair and basically sleeping with him right away. Update 2 days later. My first ever update, yeah. If you were hoping for some terrible drama, I hate to break it to you, but I don't roll like that, no pun intended. I do have an update on Jess, and things finally make perfect sense. Plus, I have a slightly inappropriate but funny story about Mike because this guy is just the best, y'all. Okay, first, I finally messaged Jess yesterday and basically said, I'm still hurt by what you said, but after 15 years of friendship, I'd never forgive myself if I didn't at least ask why you snapped at me like that. She replied immediately, I'm so effing sorry, I didn't mean any of that. Can we have a do-over on lunch? So I cautiously agreed and took a half day to meet with her today. It turns out that those of you who said she might be jealous, or that something else was going on, and especially the person who said something might be wrong in her relationship, gold stars. She's in town because she's job hunting, as she's moving back in with her parents for a while since her relationship ended. Apparently, they've been having a ton of small problems that added up, but the biggest one? Seggs. The guy she's been with was apparently never great, but it's gotten to the point where he makes no effort at all for her to enjoy herself, and then gets pissed when she isn't in the mood. She tried talking with him and making suggestions, but he told her recently that it's emasculating to be given sex advice by a woman. The straw that broke the metaphorical camel's back, however, was this: her boyfriend has always had a thing for Asian women. She's Caucasian, but she does have long black hair. After weeks of fighting over their sex life, he suggested they spice things up, by her dressing in a kimono and pretending to be Asian. She lost it on him, absolutely disgusted by the racist fetishism, and ended it right then. She had all of this bottled up and was hoping to talk to me about it and finally let it out. I, however, missed every hint that she had something big to discuss because I was gushing about Mike. To her, it felt like I was just twisting the knife by bragging about how great our sex life was. She snapped, and somewhere between what I was saying and what she wanted to talk about, some wires got crossed, and she said something incredibly dumb. She left without saying goodbye because she was mortified and ashamed, as well as irrationally mad at me. Something to know about Jess: she's an awful liar, and we were the co-founders of our high school's Foot and Mouth Society, so I believe her. I told her I forgive her and that I'm sorry I didn't realize she wanted to talk about something bothering her. She said I'm too stupidly nice and have nothing to apologize for, so I think we'll be okay. For the time being, I'm not ready for her and Mike to meet because I don't want to make things feel worse, and she agrees. But she's really happy for me. Hopefully, this will just be a funny story we can look back on someday. Now, onto how Mike almost unalived me, lol. Last night, we were talking about the Reddit post, and he got this funny expression that I'm starting to recognize. He goes, "How do we know you don't have a fetish if we haven't at least tried it in the chair?" And I'm like, are you serious, lol? He said he's never attempted it because, cue tears, he's never felt so comfortable with a partner before. Well, his chair has what is essentially a parking brake. Or it should, but it's unfortunately broken, and apparently getting it fixed is an expensive pain in the rear. He doesn't use it often, so he hasn't made it a priority. And there's this thing called Newton's third law, you know how every action has an equal and opposite reaction. As it happens, when you're trying to, get the motion of the ocean going in a chair with wheels that aren't locked, there's a sort of counter motion that starts and messes everything up. So we were going nowhere fast, except inching along the floor in his bedroom and laughing at the silliness, which wasn't helping. Eventually, he just stopped and said, "Maybe we can get some of those wooden block things they use to keep little planes from rolling away, like in Indiana Jones, you know?" I absolutely lost it. I laughed so hard I was in tears. He was giggling, half at the situation and half at my reaction, and everything just kept setting me off again. Finally, I got it under control, doing some deep breathing exercises and such, and I looked at him again. He pulled the straightest face he could and said, "For the love of God, golly. This sure is uncomfortable." Folks, if I had asthma, I would have freaking died right there. I laughed so hard I think I pulled a rib, like wheezing, not even laughing anymore, just weeping and making this awful hiccuping noise whenever I could catch my breath. He was laughing and rubbing my back, apologizing because he couldn't resist. So yeah, confirmed, no fetish here, and this magnificent bastard's comedic timing might actually unalive me. I doubt I'll update again because I don't see anything else needing to be shared now that everything has sort of worked out. And in the end, the real jerks were the friends we made along the way? I don't know. Thanks for all the lovely comments on my last post and for coming along with me on this absurd but brief drama in my life, lol. Second update 2 weeks later. Hello again. I was going to post this on my own page, but a few people mentioned that they think it's nice to read on AITAH, so screw it, here's the Met Mike's family update. And it's a doozy, or at least it felt like it at the time for a girl who grew up with a small, dysfunctional family. First up, you know what people, at least me, don't think about when dating a guy who's always sitting? Height. I know he's taller than me because we cuddle a lot, and he's taller sitting on the couch, but I didn't really get it. So we drive up Friday night after work, actually south and west, lol, but to my brain it's always up, in his vehicle, which is modified to be driven entirely using his hands. Neat, right? He's a really good driver too. One more green flag. We get to the house, and it's huge, you guys. LOL. Like, not a mansion, just kind of a sprawling one-floor rancher. Real estate was wild back in the day. Anyway, we get out, and I meet his mom. I'd like to point out I am no slouch, I'm 5 feet friggin' 7 inches. His mom is towering over me. But she was the nicest lady ever. We go inside, and I meet his dad, who, funny enough, is apparently the only short one in this family, and his youngest sister, who is living there with his 1-year-old niece. She gets up to hug me, and she is also really tall. It's already a bit late by then, so we eat and head to bed. I get to see his cute as hell room from when he was a teenager, and I casually ask, "Hey, so, I don't know how this works and stuff, but how tall are you?" And Mike is all, "I dunno, like a bit over 6 feet 4 inches? Been a while since I checked. A bit over 6 feet 4 inches. So, is everyone in your family tall?" Kinda. We met the Nordic basketball team he calls a family properly the next day. Actually, they're Irish, but they're blonde and tall, so it conveys the idea better. The only one of reasonable height, and still taller than me, was his oldest sister, lol. They are also loud. Like, not really shouting or anything usually, just present. Mike is a lot different around them, but in the cutest way. Like, he just beams all the time, and you can see how happy he is to be home. One of his brothers put him in a headlock and gave him a dang noogie as a greeting and got elbowed in the side for it, with all of them laughing. And his mom smacked one of his brothers with a rolled-up magazine for putting his feet on the table. More laughing. Just intimidating, but in the happiest way imaginable. I'll admit I was a little shut down for a bit, but Mike kept checking in with me to make sure I was okay, and they were all really nice, so I got into the spirit after a while. I mentioned this in another comment, but Mike has a special sports wheelchair he uses for, well, sports. And he and his siblings play basketball. And he is good. Apart from just having a hell of an arm, he's quick as hell. And this magnificent bastard that I love will absolutely, purposefully, gleefully run someone's toes over. He aims for it. They all have this yank back the foot maneuver that's hysterical to watch. So it was this crazy day of loud people playing and having a blast, nieces and nephews running around, and just noise. My ears are still ringing. The food was catered in advance because his mom had 7 babies. All I make on Mother's Day is margaritas. They also have a pool. It's a bit chilly still, but the pool is heated, so we actually all got to swim, which was a lot of fun because I got to show off that I too am athletic. I can do a backward somersault off a diving board. Yeah, I'm a real catch, lol. They at least pretended to be impressed. We all stayed up late drinking and complaining that it was too overcast to see the aurora, and I had the worst hangover I've had in a while on Sunday. We slept in a bit late and then joined Mike's family for the barbecue part of the barbecue weekend. His dad can grill people. And he's fast, food coming off the grill at lightning speed. I asked Mike about it, and he laughed and said, "There were 7 of us to feed. Ever see a nest of baby birds?" He had practice. Which, fair enough. I don't have much experience with babies, but I got to hold his youngest niece, the one living at home with his sister until her husband gets back from deployment, and we had a light talk about kids in the future. I told him that I never put much thought into it, but if they were going to grow up in a happy home like his and not how I grew up, I'm pretty sure I'd be open to having them with him someday. But later. I need him all to myself for a while first. He seemed really, really happy about that, which makes me feel all goofy and happy. I'm sappy. We had to drive home Sunday night, but before we went, his mom hugged me and said she's never seen her son like this and thanked me for taking good care of her baby. She asked if we'd be back for the 4th of July or if we were doing something with my family. I try to be all no, we'll be here if you don't mind. I don't see them much, and I think she caught on that there's more to the story. She just hugged the crap out of me, Vikings, all of them, I swear, and told me she can't wait to see me again. My ears are still ringing from all the noise and chaos, but it was an absolute blast, and I can't wait to see them again in July. Also, I'm pretty much sure Mike is the man I'm going to marry. I literally can't think of a single reason why I would ever let him get away. Anyway, thanks for reading. Hope you all had a lovely weekend, and those of you who got to see the aurora, I'm happy for you, but you suck, lol. 3rd update 2 months later. As I've gotten a ton of requests for updates, I figured I'd let you guys know how things are going in my world. You know how sometimes a relationship looks amazing at first, but then all the red flags start showing up. This isn't one of those stories, lol. Sorry, that was mean, but I couldn't resist. Okay, onto the actual update. No, we aren't engaged yet. Yes, we've talked about it in the context of how seriously we're taking things. No babies yet either, obviously, we are diligent about birth control. I want Mike all to myself for a while. So, the 4th of July visit to his family's house was pretty awesome. After getting to know everyone last time, I had better expectations of what I was walking into, and I've talked with my therapist about the whole play fighting makes me anxious because in my childhood home it wasn't playing thing. I don't want them to ever curb how they act to cater to me, so I guess I'll consider it immersion therapy. I think Mike mentioned it anyway, because I didn't see much of it this time, though there were cheerful threats of doom lobbed about, which I didn't mind at all. His mom is amazing, I'd like to point out. Even if she moms so hard it makes me weepy. Some background info: I have a really common sounding name spelled really uncommonly. Think Danielle or Jessica. Because in addition to everything else, my parents decided to be creative when they named me. So, although I do sort of like my name, that meant I was that kid who never saw their name personalized on anything. Mike's family, on the other hand, had like a million kids, and they all got traditional names, so personalized stuff was huge for them. It kept them from fighting over things, I guess. One of the things in their house, because they have a pool, is that each of the kids, adults now, has their own personalized beach towel that lives at the house. So, we get to their place, and it's been a hot drive there, so right after we get in, Mike suggests I go to his room to get changed into a swimsuit so we can have a dip in the pool. I'm thinking that sounds perfect, right? Some of you may already know where this is going. I get to his room, and there's a towel on the bed. In my favorite color. With my freaking stupidly spelled name embroidered into it. So here I am crying over a goddamn towel, and he's in the doorway watching and grinning like he just pranked me or some crap. Turns out it was her idea, but she checked with Mike to make sure it was spelled right. So now I have a towel for when we visit, because apparently I'm welcome. If I sound cranky, it's just because I'm better at self-deprecation than I am at expressing emotions in a direct way. I really am blown away and touched by how much these people have welcomed me. Mike has already sort of learned to decode the way I talk and joke, which is nice, but the first time he gently said, "That's not humor, that's just putting yourself down, babe," I definitely wanted to go hide under the table. He doesn't let me be mean to me. That's a thing good partners do, I guess? I wouldn't know. Again, yes, I am in therapy, I'm working on myself. It's not his responsibility to put me back together, it's just something he does naturally. I literally told him one night that I was sorry I'm kind of broken, and he snorted and said, "At least you can walk," in the most disgusted voice ever and made me laugh. I digress. So the food was once again amazing, and I kept my promise to teach his mom how to make my cinnamon bun bread pudding, so I felt like I contributed. Insert Ralph Wiggum I'm helping meme. I learned to play Yahtzee, and as it turns out, I am very good at it. They do a lot of board game things at night when everyone is staying for the week. These people have a lot of board games. And puzzles. A whole damn storage closet of the things. They also drink like freaking fish and can hold it, so I am learning to pace myself. Mike doesn't drink much when we aren't there, so I'm not worried that it's a red flag. The only red flag of his that I've found is a Red Sox pennant in his room. Now, I realize I might be talking him up a lot, but he isn't perfect. He snores, he has a habit of arguing with people on the TV when they make stupid decisions, he sometimes starts talking about things I don't understand and just goes and goes until he realizes he lost me like 15 minutes ago, and he is fastidiously tidy, which makes me feel guilty because I have bad habits to lose. I'm not used to clutter means I can't move through an area, but I'm really trying. I barely spend any time at my own place anymore, and we're definitely looking to move in together sooner rather than later. Yeah, so, not that much of an update, no one burned themselves on a firework or anything super exciting. I'm just in an ongoing relationship with a great guy who has a great family, and things continue to look up for us. We head home tonight so we can spend some alone time Sunday. Hope everyone else had a safe and happy holiday. Edit. My extremely unhealthy but delicious cinnamon bun bread pudding recipe. Take 2 pop tubes of Pillsbury cinnamon buns and bake them according to the instructions, but reserve the icing. Turn off the oven and leave the buns inside for another 10 minutes, you want them a little overbaked. Let them cool, then chop them into fairly large, rough pieces. Use a 13 by 9 pan with high sides, and pour about half stick of melted butter into it, coating the bottom and sides. Preheat the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Whisk together 8 eggs with 1/4 cup of half and half or heavy cream. Place the cinnamon bun chunks in the pan, then pour the egg and cream mixture over them. Use your hands to spread everything out and ensure the egg and cream are mostly or fully absorbed. If it looks too dry, you can add another egg, eggs aren't always the same size, lol. Bake uncovered for about 20 minutes, or until it feels firm. Then spread the reserved icing from the tubes all over the top and let it cool slightly until the icing becomes super runny. You can serve it hot as is or bring it somewhere and reheat it in the oven for a bit. If reheating, cover it to prevent the icing from drying out. Times and temperatures may vary depending on your oven and the size of your eggs. Hee, that's what she said? Seriously, I am incapable of being normal. 4th update 1 month later. I debated just posting this on my own page, but, well, a lot of people keep asking for more, So I guess it doesn't hurt to drop my post between am I the jerk for literally unaliving someone and am I the jerk for meekly accepting my in-laws' cruelty but asking if I may wash my wounds before they flog me again. This is not an exciting update. Not engaged, no babies on the way, not even freakishly tall ones like some of you are hexing me with. But, Jess finally met Mike. TLDR, learning to read long posts is good for your attention span. Sorry, I'm not sorry. I feel compelled to open with a joke, and I don't know why. Anyway, real TLDR, she thinks he's amazing, she thinks it is hysterical that I'm on TikTok, I refuse to download it, and she is doing amazing. Our lives are moving forward together. Jess and I have this friend, who I will call Meg and not Tallulah, despite both Jess and Mike thinking it would be hilarious. Meg was planning to have a birthday party, the Big 3-0, and she and Jess are close, and both presently single. They chose a local bar with outside seating, and Jess did a wait, let's check their accessibility because I've been complaining to her for the last month. And lo and behold, after calling the place, they didn't have a ramp for the balcony/outside seating area. As I've been told, Jess said, nope, I am meeting Mr. Thrower_Jess come on, so they found another place that's a damn hike from everyone. But it has a great outside area with accessibility. And then we got the invite. Through Facebook, because we're all basic, I guess? Mike was stoked because they have this awesome beer selection, full stop, I hate hops, so. Then Meg told us that, no, I am not using Tallulah for the 15% of you going oh, but that was such a better name, they chose it because Jess wanted Mike to feel welcome. So hats off to Jess for making the comeback impression of the century, I guess. The birthday was fun and silly, and everyone in my immediate friend group met Mike and loved him. Tons of laughter, everyone drank way too much, but fortunately, we had enough heads up for a planned motel stay. Why yes, I do own a UV flashlight, why do you ask? So we and a bunch of other people didn't drive home. We actually had brunch at the bar the next day. It was absolutely awesome, and I am ruined for pancakes because fluffy. Once again, I digress. Jess and Mike hit it off, and she told him literally every story I didn't want her to over brunch. It all was great apart from the persistent hangover. I crashed at Mike's again. And then he asked what it would cost to break my lease, because he hates the mornings he wakes up and I'm not there. So, the next upcoming week and a half or so is going to be insane while I pack up my whole damn life, shove half into a storage unit, and the other half into his apartment. Then we'll be living together. I know it's too soon. He does too. We've decided we're idiots and just going for it. My landlord is a lady who's a bit on the older side and isn't charging me for breaking the lease as long as I leave the place ready for a new renter. So I may respond to comments for a bit right away, but expect a lot of silence for a while after. True TLDR, best friend made a good second impression, and I'm moving in with Mike ahead of schedule. I should be worried, but I'm actually just really excited. Wish me luck. 5th update 2 months later. Hey, I get a lot of messages asking how things are going, but I kinda hate when people update every 5 minutes with the "my neighbor looked at me sideways" updates after 3 paragraphs of recapping drama. So for those not invested, still with Mike, he's amazing, I will marry him. We live together now. It's been trying, as in, he is trying not to laugh at how inept I am at cohabitation. I am really good at not leaving stuff out now, so there's improvement. He doesn't infantilize, Reddit big brain word, me at all, but he definitely gives me the grace to an absolute idiot. I appreciate it. We are not engaged, guys, it's been half a year, come on. I'm writing a book about our relationship. It starts with "my name is," and the rest is just notes. Don't hold your breath. Jess moved into my old apartment. Yes, my former landlord is the GOAT. Jess is also seeing a guy. I think it is too soon. She agrees. But she has reasons, girl, we all have needs, and who am I to judge? And I was recently in kind of a serious car accident. I am fine. I have great health insurance, great car insurance, and I'm recovering just fine. No GoFundMe here, though, if you want to help, just find a reputable charity for helping victims of drunk drivers and give them your money. So, I was on my way home from working overtime, and some dude clipped my car. I ended up in a ditch while he just sort of spun out. But I wear my seatbelt because I have a brain, and I got really, really lucky. Everything is fine. My medical deductible was already paid up for the year, and the worst I had was some bruises, a cracked femur, whiplash, and a totaled car. The silver lining is that Mike is great at caretaking, another checkmark in the having kids category. Also, his mom brought us like a million homemade frozen dinners in Costco serving trays. We had nowhere to put them, so she bought us a freaking chest freezer. Guys, I don't even know with this family. They are amazing. I know usually I give some sweet, heartwarming updates while complaining about mental health, but I am pretty well medicated until my leg heals, And I have a few weeks off work to cuddle Mike while watching bad sci-fi, so I'm not in the best place to fill your cups. Sorry. Also, don't watch Another Life on Netflix unless you have the ability to set your brain aside, because it is the least consistent show I have ever seen. I mean, I loved it, especially the spine ripping itself out of a person and trying to walk away, oh my god, but it requires suspension of disbelief like few things I have encountered in all my years. Also, Mike says hi. He indulges me. Have a good autumn, and please, for the love of heck, don't drive drunk. And don't expect anything from me unless the Thanksgiving gathering is as epic as they claim. Ahaha, I almost slipped and said his last name. No doxing for you today, because Reddit is probably already over my crap. As always, love you guys for all the support. I'm okay, the relationship is fab, and please don't drink and drive. Edit. I don't have a cracked femur. Jesus crackers, these meds are something. I have a fractured fibula, lower leg, outside bone, and it didn't break all the way through. I have no idea how I mixed those two up. Mike says at least I'm cute when I'm high, but he is clearly biased. So yeah, cracked fibula, little leg bone, shortish healing time. Not femur, thank God. 6th update 3 months later. Hello, Reddit friends. It's been a minute, right? Sorry about that. There's been a lot of very real-life stuff intersecting with the holidays, so I haven't had the best time to make an update. Thanks for asking so much, though, I feel the support. First thing, Mike and I are great. Coming up on a year, if you can believe it. Out of respect, not Mike's family, I'll put a trigger warning here about parental death/trauma/ etc. I had a Thanksgiving post in my notes almost fully written when, unfortunately, I got the call. I've mentioned before that I had kind of a rough upbringing and have been estranged from my parents for a few years, but they were still my parents, you know? So, anyhow, my mother passed away the day after Thanksgiving. Natural causes, she just neglected her health in general. I hadn't talked to her since a half-hearted attempt last Christmas. She didn't even know about Mike. And I don't know if I even feel sad exactly, but it knocked me for a loop, and writing about how great Mike's family has left a bad taste in my mouth. My therapist says I, paraphrasing here, already mourned the loss of the good parts of my mom when I started processing the bad parts, so my reaction isn't abnormal, for once. But it wasn't the easiest time, and then the funeral meant a whole lot of people I never wanted to see again. Mike was a godsend, he's so charismatic and charming that no one had anything bad to say to me. It was more like a room of acquaintances. I'm so glad we moved in together. I don't know how I would have gotten through it and then gone home alone. So, I'm going to do this a little out of order. Mike and I spent the whole Christmas week with his parents again, and they were very sympathetic and understanding in the we respect that you don't want us to make a big deal way. Most of his family wasn't there except for dinner the day after Christmas. Just wait till the Thanksgiving recap, and you'll understand why Christmas is so low-key. No one could handle that twice in 2 months. So, it was nice to wake up and feel like family and open presents in my pajamas. Mike and I have matching Christmas ones now. We are ridiculous together, and I love it. Also, it was a white Christmas for the first time in years. To those hoping for a proposal, I did get jewelry. But not a ring. Sorry. Believe me, it's on the table and where we feel we are headed, but we're not rushing things. Also, given everything going on, it wouldn't have been the right time. But I got a lovely pendant with my birthstone and real diamonds, so I was very spoiled. Christmas dinner was good and catered, a lot of chaos, kids, and presents, and I missed most of it because I had a pretty bad headache, and it was just a lot at once. But I was there for pictures, and everyone kind of accepts that I'm the future wife even without a ring, so I feel nice and included. Sorry that this update is on a bit of a downer note. I know I don't really sound like my usual upbeat self, but I'll get back there once the holidays, seasonal depression, and stuff are behind me. That's why I saved my Thanksgiving post for the end, to hopefully go out on a high note. The Thanksgiving recap. Hi all, I get a lot of requests for updates, so I thought I'd share how things are going now that Gluttony Day is behind us. Mike and I are happily cohabitating still. Things are well on most fronts. I had a minor car accident a little while ago. I posted on my page about it, but I'm mostly healed up now. Mike's family is still the absolute best, and honestly, his mom is more motherly than mine has ever been. Sucks, but it is what it is. See? That line right there, ouch. I'd been warned that Thanksgiving is sort of their big holiday since a lot of the family spends time elsewhere on Christmas and that it's a bit of a spectacle. But Lord Almighty, I was not prepared for this crap. So, things you need to know, there is some weird battle of the sexes thing they do. A few years ago, Mike's mom pointed out that the family kept getting bigger, and it was harder to make enough turkey for everyone. So, the kids got together, and everyone takes credit for the idea, and bought their dad one of those turkey deep fryers for Christmas. So Thanksgiving rolls around again, I so wish I'd met Mike sooner to see it myself, and thanks to the combination of beer and I'm sure we can figure this out, apparently their dad set fire to the lawn. At least no one was hurt, apart from Pride. But after that, there was sober practice, and now mom's turkey versus dad's turkey is this whole thing. Like, there is literally trash talk the whole day. People are set up into camps. I joked we needed team shirts, and I think they actually want to do that next year. It was all pretty hilarious and casual, and they had like 3 damn tables set up. Don't worry, Reddit. I made sure no teenagers were being parentified or unlike in-laws were being forced to sit at the kids' table. Actually, I was low-key jealous. They got crayons and coloring books. The food was all amazing and all hands on deck except for me because his mom refused to have me on my feet, even though my leg is basically fine now. Mike kept bringing me stuff. It was so cute, y'all. I can't even put into words how much golden retriever energy this boy has. If you're wondering who made the better turkey? Oh man, it's hard. Mike's mom does a brine. Alton Brown is the goat, but there is something about fried turkey skin that is just next level. So, I'd say it's a tie, and that's not just me being diplomatic. I ate so much that I barely had room for dessert. It was fantastic. I never fall asleep in the car, but I was passed out on the drive home. We had kind of a second Thanksgiving at home the next day from the leftovers, and I probably just put on 50 pounds. No regrets. Anyway, I'm off to sleep the bird off. I hope you all had a wonderful turkey day and a great Christmas coming up. End recap. So, there you have it. I'm okay, we're okay, and I'm looking forward to 2025 being even better than 2024. Happy New Year, and I wish you all the best.